Hey, what's going on? I am trying this again, Matt Browning. Excuse me. Welcome to Q&A for the second week in a row, and I decided to make this one public. Usually we do this in our mastery groups, and I just thought, what the heck, let's get cranking. So I want to answer a few questions on NLP, on life, on business, literally whatever it is you are looking to know, I guess. Hey, what's up, Mark? What's up, Bruce? Glad to have you guys. Hey, Tim. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to answer a few questions, take about 12 to 15 minutes, and let's see what we got. So number one, this comes from Nate Whalen. Nate's over in Michigan. He's actually part of our church. He asked, what's been your biggest personal takeaway from building your own business ground up, day one to present, maybe things that surprised you on the journey, lessons learned, etc. And then what was the heartbeat behind starting your own company? Man, that's kind of a loaded question because that was 10, almost 11 years ago when I started. To me, I still feel like the biggest takeaway for building business and doing all this NLP work and everything has been one thing. It's a lot harder than I thought it was. It's a heck of a lot harder. I spent almost 2 years, if you know my story, basically giving away all my money, not working in real estate any longer, and trying to chase the dream of helping people and doing the thing I'm passionate about. The challenge is, I think today in 2017, we get a lot of advice. There's seminars and gurus and coaching galore that teach us that we should follow our passions and the universe will line up with the planet simultaneously and everything will happen perfectly. I don't think the truth is that simple. I think it's important to follow our passion, but your passion can be in business, or your passion can be in ministry, or your passion can be in hobbies, your passion can be your family. And I don't know about you, like I love my son, Val, but I don't need to make a business around Val. I love rock climbing, and I've shared on stage before, one of the nightmares I could imagine in my life would be to be a climbing guide. You know, the last thing I want to do is have to every weekend lug people up a mountain that shouldn't be there, and it takes away all like the passion I have for it. So I'll leave you with this question, Nate, and for everyone. What are you passionate about? What do you love? And how do you want to express that? Do you want to do it as a hobby? Do you want to do it as a charity, as a give back, as part of your family, as something you do with friends? Or do you legitimately want to make a business around it? So that's the biggest lesson I learned is over 2 years, I figured out that if I spent all my time doing coaching and doing the thing I loved, what happened is I didn't actually build a business. But 2 years in, I finally understood that I need to start building a business instead of just doing the thing I love. It was a tough pill to swallow, but you know me, like I'm gonna tell you straight. Like I like to be as realistic as possible, and to me, that's the truth. Is if I spent 100% of my time, and you know what, I hear this a lot too. People are saying things like, only do the thing that is your biggest strength and delegate the rest. That's a bunch of BS. The truth is, if you try to only do the thing you're strong at and delegate everything, it may not get done the right way. You're not really going to build anything. I think there's logic to it, right? I'm going against the grain here. The logic is, to me, I think you need to be able to do something and then understand how it's done. Like my strength and my magic isn't in building websites, but I went and I learned some pieces about how to do it, and now I understand the basics, so I can delegate and leverage and ask someone. And I have, building a team around me to do the things that I'm not great at. But I can't ignore them, pretend like they're not there, and only just coach people and only do the thing I love. So my suggestion that I've learned is do a lot of things, learn a lot of things in the business, and be okay to get good at something or at least understand it, and then you can delegate it out. But that's going into another question. So hope that helped, Nate. That was I'm just going to flip to the next one. That was the biggest takeaway I picked up going through this from start to finish in the business, was understanding that I got to actually work, and I got to do a business around the thing that I was passionate about doing. So there's probably more questions in that. By the way, welcome, John, Amanda. Mom's here. What's up, Mom? Love you. Yeah, give me some love. That's cool, man. Kathy's here. Carissa. Awesome. We're getting some great people hanging out. So if everything I'm saying, if you have more questions around it, feel free to comment something. Like if you want to comment a question or a clarification around something, that'll help me, because what I'd love to do is every week start doing some quick live Q&As where I hit a couple of questions. So literally anything you have on NLP, on life, on business, you know what I do, all that kind of stuff. Post something here, and I'll get back on Mondays when we record our new podcast. All right, Bruce Moreno, he's in our NLP Mastery program. Bruce says, I've been wondering how well NLP and traditional psychology play together. Ooh. I get the feeling that a lot of times regular psychology/psychiatry tends to favor a medication route, whereas NLP works how it works. So I guess my question is, this is still Bruce, will learning traditional psychology after I learn NLP help? Or do you think the values are too different? Man, that's also a loaded question. So let me be careful on this and try to explain as best I can my perspective. I will say, my opinion only. This is not the truth in the world. This is the way I've seen things. So to me, I think different places of study. So psychiatry and psychology are two very different fields of study, right? Specifically, psychiatry, you're able to prescribe medicine. Psychology, you're looking at behavior changes and thought patterns and emotional sources and things like that. NLP is a funny duck because neuro-linguistic programming works on a lot of levels. It gets lumped into psychology because in the early 70s when it was really first being developed, primarily it was about modeling psychologists. Fritz Perls, a Gestalt therapist, Virginia Satir, a family therapist, and Milton Erickson, a hypnotherapist and psychiatrist, medical doctor. When they modeled these three different therapists, they found several language patterns involved. So NLP has morphed into a lot of different things over the years. It's been, how long is that, 40-something years now, 45 years that we've been practicing and modeling NLP. And it's gotten into public speaking that we train. It's gotten into sales, into relationships, and a lot of different stuff. But the core essence originally was really about modeling human behavior and what they call the subjective experience. So people have an objective experience, like we could all, I'm hanging out in the backyard, so you could say, is there a pool behind me? Yep, love where I live, it's awesome. But there's a pool behind me. We could all agree there's a pool behind me. That's objective. Subjective is, well, is it big or small? Is it enjoyable or is it expensive and frustrating? Is it fun or is it dangerous? Does it look good or does it look bad? All those are subjective experiences. And NLP really started as a modeling of subjective experience. How do people interact with the world in an individual way? How do two people go to the same event and have a very different event? So at the essence, really NLP is about that. Along the way, though, some trainers in NLP have picked up almost like a moral code. And again, I want to be real careful about how I say this because I realize I'm doing a vast generalization. So I hope this works out well. For me as an NLP trainer, my take is a lot of traditional psychology, and certainly not all of it. In fact, it's been leaps and bounds in the last months, years, and decades as well. But a lot of traditional psychology started with the presupposition that people may very well work similar to machinery or a system. And again, this is my story for it. So think about back in the Industrial Revolution time, the world changed drastically because we learned and we created something called the interchangeable part. This is the thing where now if like a rifle was broken, you don't just throw the whole rifle away. It was an assembly line, so you could have the trigger mechanism stuck or got broke. So now you can take it apart, move the trigger mechanism, replace it with a new part, and the whole thing is brand new again. We do it with machines, we do it with cars, we do it with computers, we do it with everything, right? Food even. You take one ingredient out, put a new ingredient in, boom, you have a different pie. But with humans, it's not that way. To me, human psychology, and from the NLP perspective, is not so much what are the parts and the ingredients that go inside of us, but the human experience is really about how do we interact with those parts? What do they mean? What do we make them mean? What stories do we tell about those parts and those experiences we've had? So while traditional psychology may be looking at the parts that go into a person, NLP is more interested in how we interact with the parts and how we made them mean certain things. I'll give you an example. Say we're talking about an adult person and they're extremely shy and they would like to change that and not be so shy. Well, traditional psychology might look at the past and look at childhood experiences and say, oh, well, here's this experience. It's an ingredient, it's a part. And this is what caused this result to happen today. So again, in the psychological world, you might say, well, if we change something around that past experience, if we change that part of them, how they engage in public, then we'll change that component of them. In NLP, it's not so much, hey, there's a broken part, let's try to fix it. It's, hey, this person is whole, and they probably adapted who they are today based on experiences they've had. So again, it's more interested in the relationship between the ingredients, not the ingredients themselves. Hope that makes a little bit of sense. The other thing that we'll look at is traditional psychology. Again, I know I'm vastly generalizing right now, but so if you're a psychologist, psychiatrist, please don't string me up right now on a tree. I get there's no right way to talk about this because, I mean, there's probably 10,000 different variations of psychological techniques. So to say the word psychology is already too general. So again, just with some grace on this, I'm going to talk very general terms, realizing there's exceptions. Thanks, Ben. I think that's interesting too. So traditional psychology, in general, will say the person is broken. They're not going to use that word, but they're basically going to say, hey, they would be healthy, but there's this thing they do, and if they stop doing this thing, they'd be back to normal again. So if you look into like the DSM, the psychiatric evaluation manuals, oh, hear the plane overhead? I don't know how loud that is, but flight path, yay. Traditional psychology is going to look at how to prescribe medicine, or psychiatry, how to prescribe medicine based on abnormal behavior traits. So think about it like this. Psychologists, psychiatrists are looking for what's normal. You come over in the shade here. It's getting hot in the sun. They're going to look for what's normal and what's abnormal. So normal is how we all should be. And if we're behaving abnormally, how do we fix that and change it, right? NLP isn't that such way. I don't believe there really is a normal as far as just like behavioral traits. We're more going to look at adaptions. So I'm going to say, well, how did somebody adapt their behavior based on what they've been through to survive or to thrive or to do whatever. You know, if I'm a kid and I get raised in the ghetto and I see a bunch of people stealing around me and there's not enough money and I'm hungry, well, maybe I'm going to adapt and start to adapt the belief that the world is a jungle and if you don't fight back, they might win. And I got to find a way to get myself ahead. I got to take care of me because no one else will. Well, that's me adapting based on the scenario I've been through. So in psychology, they would maybe try to attack that belief. NLP is not the case. I'm more curious. I want to know, how did you get the belief? Where did it come from in the first place? And is there a more empowering belief that you could almost shift it into, right? I'll give you one last thing and then we'll end this question. We also, there's a process called looking at the map of the world, right? Looking at somebody's model of the world, essentially how do they see the world and what does the world mean, right? How are things? What is my model of how people and the world around me works? So traditional psychology is more interested in, hey, if you look at a map of the world or a model of the world and there's a piece that's out of place, how do we fix it? In NLP, it's not so much about I want to fix that piece that's out of place. It's about how can I help this person to expand their model of the world? How can I help them to increase choice in life, to take away scarcity, to help them have more flexibility, to give them more options for success? And oftentimes what will happen is you give someone more options to succeed and they'll choose a healthier option. See, if, and again, I'll just keep going to random examples off the top of my head. So say I'm working with a smoker and they want to quit. Well, traditional psychology is going to work on, well, how do you quit smoking and why do you smoke? What I'm going to look at is, what's this person's model of the world? Certainly, what are the reasons behind why someone smokes or chooses whatever they choose? And maybe they feel like they get stressed out and the only way to relieve stress is to go have a cigarette. So for me, I look at a model of the world that is fairly scarce. If I get stressed, I only have one real major way to eliminate all my stress, and that's to go have a smoke break. Well, the interesting thing is, what if I could help increase choice? What if we could help them through some NLP process to feel like working out could actually help doing that, or stopping and praying could do that, or having a deep, meaningful conversation would do that, or doing the dishes would actually literally relieve the stress and get them out of the state and into a different state, and that could work, right? Now, if I just tell it to you, it's not going to work. But if we start doing some fun process, we look at the subconscious mind, there might be a lot easier of a way to transform that. So that's the final piece on that. Is NLP is about expanding the model of the world, therefore adding more choice, increasing choice, and ultimately, I think increased choice will lead to just a happier and almost simpler life. All right, so hopefully that helped. And again, it might create more questions than answers. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to put some comments, man. I see some people join. There's Nate. Nate finally joined. I answered your question in the beginning, so look back. What's up, Jeremy? Missy, everyone's here. So if you have a question or if talking about this, go back and watch the video once it's archived. And if it brings up an interesting question or something a little deeper, or you want to expand on it, just write it down in there. And what I'm going to do is all week long, Tina's going to be going on social media, on our NLP Mastery group. They're going to go on our Pinnacle Partnership business group and going on the Evolution page, which is our general page. She's going to be collecting questions from comments on anywhere. What's up, Amanda? Good to see you. Hey. So feel free to put some questions on there, and then I will, via Tina, will collect them, and then I'll be answering them the following Mondays. All right, one last question, and this is completely different. This is on meetup.com, how to use meetup.com to grow your business and as an advertising place. So Jim Cassidy, this is for you, buddy. He says, I have a question about setting up a meetup. I think Matt said to schedule it 30 or 60 days out. Should I make them 1 hour or 2 hours? What's the best way to start? So let me start with that part of the question. Yes, you will do it, Nate. So earlier, what I did is I just created a new product called the Fill the Room Formula, how to fill up your workshops, seminars, and live events with no tools, no tech, no landing page, and no Facebook ads. Love you too, Mom. And this is a little crazy because a lot of people today, coaches in my space, are teaching people how to use Facebook ads, how to use online funnels, how to use email marketing, how to all these things. And I found there's a lot of coaches and speakers in the space that are getting frustrated because they don't know how to get started with it. And there's a lot more moving parts than they would give you credit for. So what are we doing? I created a product called Fill the Room Formula, all about how to do it with no tech. So the main cornerstone of it is to use meetup.com. I realize that's a website, but it's not really tech. It's a online management of offline or live in-person local community groups. So I'm talking all about how to leverage Meetup to build fill your seminar rooms. Now, when I first got started, I used meetup.com for the first several years. We built thousands of followers, and I made hundreds of thousands of dollars, very literally, selling our programs and coaching and NLP trainings, all through meetup.com as a lead source. So I walked through exactly how to do that. It's pretty cool. So in there, I talked about setting up a meetup right away and doing it monthly. So you want to do it every single month. Ideally, you want to do it on the same day of the month every single time. Oh, good. Missy was told to use this. Yes, try it again. Also in the program, there's a back-end video training of 3 45-minute videos where I screen share and walk through start to finish, starting a fresh meetup group, how to search for the right words, how to find the right people, how to get the right topics and interests, where to put it, what zip codes to use, how to do your settings, what kind of picture. I mean, I hit everything, every detail to make it successful. What I found, you're right, Missy, it is nice, is every time someone says, oh yeah, I tried Meetup, I tried to use that, I find that if I looked at their Meetup, there were probably a lot of things that got missed that they just didn't know that they didn't know. And I've experimented with it so much. It was our main source for like 3-4 years of leads and of new clients. So in the video, I walk through all that stuff. I would plug it, I guess I plugged it, but I would tell you where to get it, except for I don't know if it's actually available to the public at this point. Keep an eye out though on Facebook and social media. I'll probably do some kind of I'll probably use a Facebook ad, but I'll probably give that away at some point as what's called a lead magnet, give it for free, and you can opt in and grab the training. So watch for that, I'll do that sometime soon. Anyway, long and short is Nick Ortner. Dude, I hope you're going to stick around, buddy. Do you remember hanging out at Date with Destiny 2002? I remember your name, man. I have not talked to you in over 15 years. So if you're here still, welcome, man. Good to see you. All right, so how do you do it? You do the meetup once every month. You do it on the first day, sorry, not the first day, but the same day every month. The first Thursday, the second Wednesday, something like that. Mondays tend to be good. Wednesdays, Thursdays are great. If you do a weekend, Saturday mornings can actually be pretty good. It does all depend on your audience. So are they all corporate people? Do they have jobs? Are they entrepreneurs? You know, if it's an entrepreneur, you could easily do an afternoon thing, but I found it pretty useful to do Monday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, or Saturday mornings tend to be some of the best ones out there. All right, I got to get this short because it's about time to wrap up. I've been going a little long. So do it the same day of every month so people get used to it, and what will happen is they'll start coming back. They'll invite their friends. people won't always come to your first meetup, but they might join your group. 2, 3, 4 months in, they might go, oh, you know what, I'm finally going to make this one. But if you don't make it regular, if you can't commit to doing the second Wednesday or whatever every month for a year, don't start it until you're sure you can do that. Get a location you can use regularly. Don't change the location around. Make sure parking's really good. Make sure it's easy to find. I did some meetups where I had like a hard to find room, and it's fun. Or if it's bad parking, man, people will drive into city centers in like LA, or I did some in Melbourne, Australia, Adelaide. If you do it too far downtown where parking's bad, people will literally drive around. If they drive around once, they can't find parking, they'll just leave because they're not invested yet. So the way to do it is you want to make sure that it's easy to find. Thanks, Mom. My mom came to my meetups. Make sure it's easy to find. Make sure parking's great. Make sure you can do it regularly every single month. All right. So once you do that, you only want to do your first meetup maybe 30 days out from whenever you're going to launch your actual meetup group. I will also say, don't launch a meetup group until you have your very first meetup on the books scheduled, because that's a little secret I hear that most people won't tell you. I don't know if they know. When you launch a meetup group, it's a lot like launching a podcast or launching anything else. When you launch it, meetup.com will give you favor for 72 hours, roughly. They may be changing the algorithms by now, but in my day it was 72 hours. They'll essentially say, hey, here's some hot new meetups to go check out that have the same interests as things that you as a member have interest in. So don't launch your meetup if you're not ready to do your meetup. Okay, you can work on it, get it ready and everything, but you should have your meetup description ready, have the picture ready, have all the stuff ready. So you go through my training on it. Then you should have the location ready, the times ready, all the details ready to go, and then sit in one like 2-hour chunk of time, on your laptop and just go to town, make it all, and then hit launch live, and then make sure your meetup is ready to go, make sure the actual event is there, and you are ready to rock. That's the secret. Thanks, guys. Good to see you, Damien. That is the secret of launching a good meetup from the beginning. Okay, once you've launched a good meetup from the beginning, what will happen is somebody will go onto meetup.com. They'll search for, say, NLP or coaching or speaking or networking or shy people or whatever they're looking for, bicyclists. They'll look for their interest. And then when they find meetups, Meetup will, again, show yours in the very beginning. Dude, Damien, you got me so much love. I love you. This feels really good. Yeah, just keep cranking the love, man. I love these hearts. So Meetup will show your meetup in the beginning. Then when they go to it, what will happen is, think of it almost like an online conversion tool. If somebody lands on your meetup and they hit join, and then once they join, it goes in and it says, hey, we're meeting in 2 weeks on this date. They are 10 times more likely to RSVP for the specific meetup if it's there and live when they first join. So think of it like a 2-step action. They're going to find you and then join, and the very next thing on the next page is they're going to RSVP for the next live event. If you don't have a live event ready, the first meetup ready, then when they join, they'll then go off in their life and do something else, and they'll forget about you. And then what happens when you post your real first meetup? Oh, gee whiz, then they're probably not even going to see it in the first place. Oh, don't worry, they'll get an email. Yeah, along with 100 other emails in a day, and they may or may not pay attention to it. So that's the point. Small little tip. Make sure when you launch a new meetup group, you also have the first live event of a meetup group. Peace out, Damien. And if you have that there, then they were 10 times more likely to join the group and then also RSVP for the next meetup. How long should you do it? This is a long answer to a short question. I would recommend at least 90 minutes to 2 hours. I would usually do mine from like 7 to 9 or even 6:30 to 8:30, something like that. And what it does is it gives you, I'm going to sit back for a second, get some more sun. I'm hanging out in my backyard now. Oh, I didn't tell you this, by the way. I missed a flight last night. I was supposed to go speaking at Laurel Langemeyer's event in Tahoe. And Laurel, if you're watching this, I am so sorry, but I'm going to make the best of it and do some Facebook Live by the pool. I haven't missed a flight in a long time, probably 7 years, 8 years. I used to miss a lot when I was first training and running around Australia because we were flying so much. But anyway, long story short, I missed that late last night. So here I am hanging out at the house this afternoon, getting ready to go pick up Val from school in half an hour and living the good life. So how long should it be? I would do about 2 hours-ish. 2.5 hours you can still do. 3 hours is getting into like a training or a special event. So if you have a really hot topic, I mean like, you're not just doing a meetup, but you have a really good training topic, you could do 3 hours. But I would stick to about 2.5. 6:30 to 9. Okay, why 6:30 to 9? 6:30 to 7, you actually don't start yet. Excuse me. So 6:30, you say, hey, welcome, and you're going to have a few people come on time, but you realize it's a free networking group sort of, so they're going to come in late. So you let people come in basically, and you mingle, and you talk to people, and you make them feel welcome. You get coffee, whatever, from 6:30 to 7. You start on stage at 7. You do a brief intro, what you're doing, etc. 15 minutes. If it's a small group of like under 10, you probably do some introductions, and that's a good group rapport building process. If you got 15, even 20 people or more, don't do group introductions. Here's a little secret. Again, if you have less than 10 people, have every single person say what's your name, where you're from, and why are you here, what are you hoping to get. If you have over 10 people, I might say, so I want to hear from a couple of you. So someone tell me, what's your name, where are you from, and what are you hoping to get out of this? And then you call on maybe 3 different people. After that, then you tell a little bit of your story, what got you to the dance, why you're here doing this, and what your intention is for the meetup. Then that should take you to about 7:30. 7:30 to 8:30, you have a teaching or a training, right? So maybe you do 45 minutes to actually teach something, and then you leave 15 minutes or so to make a very nice, very soft, very community building offer to your people. So I don't have time right now to talk about that. That's all part of the Fill the Room formula video training. I'll talk exactly how to do the offer, make sure, because you don't want to sell it to your community, but you also don't want to just do it all for free. So it's kind of it's a play back and forth. One of the things I used to do is I'd either give free tickets to an event where I sold them elsewhere, but to meetup community people, I give them for free, or you can sell your event ticket or sell something, but it's got to be really cheap, maybe under $100. So I'd say, hey, I have a $2,000 ticket. If you cover my costs for the hotel and everything for me to put this on, you can just cover the cost for $100 or $99, and I'll give you a ticket. If you do that, you have to come off right. You have to really, really make it a hookup. And believe in your heart, it's a hookup. And especially if you sell tickets to things elsewhere for, $200, $500, $1,000, $2,000, if you really sell them somewhere, and then when you give it really cheap like that, it is genuinely hooking them up. Never let your meetup people feel like it's just a marketing platform for you. This is true in meetup communities, podcast communities, blogs, all those places. You can certainly have affiliate links. You can plug something you're doing, but you got to make it feel like a plug. Don't make it feel like you're actually selling it to them. If you sell directly from your meetup groups, it's going to be hard to it's going to be really, really hard to win their trust, because they feel like, oh, this is just you doing a seminar and I don't want to get sold to. So we've done that for years. We have people come back to our meetups constantly, month after month. Some people come 3-4 times a year. Some people come almost every single month. And every month you hopefully have new guests. So at the end of your meetup, you make a simple little really sweet plug for an offer where you say, hey, if you want to come join me for this thing, I'd love to have you done. And there you go. So anyway, that's basically it for meetup. I hope that helps. Again, be on the lookout for my Fill the Room formula video training. I will be doing an ad somewhere for it for free, and I'm working on that now. But I finished the entire product. Some of you actually might have it because I sold a package recently that gave it as a bonus. So I'm going to be doing, I'll be doing some of that. You'll get some of that for free. Anyway, hope this was useful for you. Wanted to answer a few questions. Those are 3 questions for today. I will tag you guys if you ask the question in the video, so you can make sure you take a look at it. Please comment below, comment here, comment anywhere if you have any questions that didn't go answered. If you have any questions that sparked from what we already went through and you want to go deeper on something, any clarification at all, that would be brilliant. So make sure you comment. Comment on my profile, comment on the Evolution page, on the Matt Brauning page, wherever you find me in the universe. Comment with questions, and every Monday, I know it's Tuesday today, but every Monday I'll be answering them along with the time that we record a podcast. So love you guys. Peace out. Bye. Yeah, I just got to figure out how to end this.